Welcome to Code Black Facts. Thank you guys for tuning in. I truly appreciate you and your support. Please continue to support by liking the video and commenting below. Also, if you are interested in any of my All Things Black commentary, feel free to subscribe to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the guy that went viral on social media for boasting about having 33 kids, and he's only 33 years old himself. Whether you agree with my sentiments or not, his actions are careless, dusty, and is highly likely to have a negative impact on the children, women, in Black community. This guy is creating broken homes all over the place and literally sees nothing wrong with it. Because this is some mess going on in the Black community, I also have to talk about how dusties like this guy that you guys see on the screen target certain women who they believe will accept their dustiness. Let's go. Broken homes in the Black community has existed for many years and has been a major problem within the Black community. Broken homes are also said to be reasons for many ills within the Black community, such as crime, poverty, lack of group and wealth ownership, which results in the Black community being locked into a permanent lower class, according to Dr. Claude Anderson. Other major contributors directly linked to broken homes include low marriage rates, high out-of-wedlock rates, high incarceration rates, psychological and emotional neglect, all of which affect the overall family unit. All right, let's get into it. So I want to bring up 3 things that I would like to address in this video using the guy, I believe his name is Damon, using his viral picture and his dusty mindset as an example. Okay, so the 3 things that I want to talk about are his video response. So when his post went viral, he did come back with a video response, and so I want to talk about some of the things that he spoke of in his video as he was responding. I also want to talk about the women that I believe dusties like him target. I think that there is a certain type of woman, and it's not necessarily the way that a woman looks. The women can be, average to drop dead gorgeous, but there is something that I believe that men like him or dusties like him target certain type of women, and I want to talk about those things. And then I want to talk about what does his actions, and we can't leave out the women because the women are participating in this. I mean, you can't have that many children, and as a woman, a dude is stepping to you and he's got that many kids with that different baby mamas, and you're just kind of open to being the next one. So we do have to address that, and in addressing that, the children are affected. Let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, it all started with this post here that you see on the screen. This is him. His name is Damon George, and he posted to Facebook, I believe. And it says, the legacy will live forever. And then he says, I want to thank my kids' mothers for helping me make this day possible. I want to thank, and he names all these different women. And then he goes on to say that he also wants to thank the photographer for the photo shoot and being understanding. With 9 missing, it still turned out good, and I'm truly blessed. So after he posted this post along with the pictures of him and his children, people started going in. It went viral. And so here is one of the videos. Now, I did not want to post the entire video of him talking because, to be quite honest with you guys, I just can't take the dustiness. But in these little short clips, I think it will give you a gist of his mindset.
You get on Facebook and talk about this man with all his kids and his weak ass. Nah, bitch, ain't nothing weak. I just don't pull out. Ask them. I go farther up in that motherfucker. I don't pull out. Fuck you mean? I ain't trying to pull out. Ain't nothing weak. So, bitch, And for you baby mamas that's embarrassed, fuck you. Point and simple. Since you so embarrassed, you be embarrassed all for the ain't shit weak over here. My pockets ain't weak and my dick soul ain't weak, bitch ass nigga. You pussy ass nigga sitting there talking. Ain't got a motherfucking dollar in your pocket. Ain't got a dollar in your motherfucking pocket. Ain't got a dollar in your motherfucking pocket. But you want to talk that shit. I'm still that nigga with 30. I'm still that nigga with 30. I'm still that nigga with 30. Fuck you mean, bitch. I'm still that nigga. When you get like me, then you gonna fuck with me, bitch. That's 20 grand right now, cash. And I go to the bank, I'll shut you whole ass niggas down. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, baby mamas, y'all don't think about that money because I'm broke. Remember that. I'm always tell you I'm broke. That's the word thing gonna come out my mouth. I'm broke. But motherfucker, I got 4 accounts, motherfucker. 4. And I keep that walk around money just in case I see something I want, I buy it. I buy it. I buy what the fuck I want. I get what I want. But I always remember, I'm broke. I am broke. Baby mamas, I am broke.
Okay, so let's first address what he posted. The legend, the legacy will live forever. And this is the thing, legacy is something that you pass down, right? And you can pass down your genes, your DNA. Obviously, everyone knows when you have a child, the DNA of both the mom and father is passed down to the child, therefore creating a legacy. And, just from reading this alone, this man, is using the wombs of women to create a legacy that he should be creating for himself so that he can pass it down to his children, so that his children can have a foot up in society instead of a foot down. And, that's the thing within our community, more specifically when it comes to Black men specifically, where the more children that they create, some of them, not all of them think this way, some of them, but I often hear when we speak about legacy, when Black men speak about legacy, it has more so to do with the amount of children that they're able to put into the world than so the amount of wealth that they're able to pass down. And we need to be very clear what that means, okay? Yes, your legacy can be your children because on technicality, you are passing down your gene pool, your DNA. But if all you have to pass down is just your DNA and your genes, that may not be good enough, right? And when I say that may not be good enough, I mean you may not have the gene pool of, of singing or, something extraordinary. And I'm not saying that you have to sing or, play, an instrument or ball or anything like that to be extraordinary. But when we talk about passing things down and monetizing that, it would have to be, something that you can pass down in your genes, and then that can be monetized. And in some families, we see that as it relates to singing or some type of a skill or sport or something like that. But if you're simply just passing down looks or passing down whatever may be in your gene pool, right, that may not be anything. And a legacy should be something, especially as it relates to Black children, it should be something that you are leaving to them as it relates to wealth. And when you have 33 children, I can tell you, unless you are a multi-millionaire or your life insurance policy is like 10 million or something like that, then you're really not passing anything of substance down. There's just no way these children, and again, he mentioned legacy. He thinks of himself as a legend. Look at the t-shirts that they're wearing. What does it say? It says the legend. So he's literally idolizing himself for being able to spread his sperm. And it's kind of disgusting because it's like any animal can go around spreading their sperm. And I'm not calling him an animal, but I mean, it is what it is. So moving on to the next thing. He mentioned, I noticed in the second video, he took out his money and he is just, got the money dropping, and he's talking about 20,000 and all this kind of stuff. And I noticed that it appears that he's only comparing himself to other people, like other people in the hood. And I noticed that within the black community, we tend to do that a lot. Instead of comparing ourselves, more specifically, since we're talking about men, instead of comparing themselves to other groups of men, so that the bar is set high, right? They compare themselves to the Negro down the street, who, within their own, personal, life experiences, they didn't really amount to much. So when you compare yourself to someone who lives down the street, who, come from the same situation, the same, area, whatever like that, the bar isn't set too high. So he thinks that having 20 grand, and that's if it really is. I mean, it looked more like a couple of grand, a couple of thousand, but it could have been, maybe 5 at the most or something like that. But we're going to go with what he said. He thinks that having 20 grand is like a lot. And I get it. The average person may not walk around with 20 grand in their pocket, right? But if we're going to go by that notion, nor does the average person have, a $1 million life insurance policy that will cover their family when they go, right? And so it's like, we got to think about what's most important. Because that 20 grand that you're walking around with in your pocket, that goes fast. Money goes fast. And that's really not enough to do much of anything. I mean, let's just say if he was having to house all 33 of those children in his home, that would mean he would need to buy at least a 15 room home. And I don't know about you guys, but these days homes are very expensive. So unless he can afford, let's say, a $10 million home, that 20 grand ain't doing nothing for them children. It ain't doing nothing. Nothing. So I just wanted to point that out. And I noticed when he went on to talk about, baby mama, I don't have any money. And he's telling the women that I got this money on me, but when you ask me for money, I'm always broke. So to me, that says, that, I only give you what I want to give you when I want to give it to you. That's what that tells me. And that's even if he's giving them anything at all. I mean, we have heard of these, Instagram daddies who literally take a picture with their kids and post it. But other than that picture, they don't do nothing. They're not there emotionally. They're not there mentally. They're not there physically. It's impossible to be there physically with 33 children. And mentally, I mean, it's only so much you can do over the phone when you're trying to console or care for your child. Who wants to parent a child through a phone? That's not parenting, if you ask me. But again, these are the standards that he has set, not just for himself, but for his children. And this is where I have to call the women that are involved with this man to the front, because it's like, if the standards are that low for him, then what are your standards? And there were people in the comment section talking about, well, as long as he can take care of his kids, but it's like, it's so low. The bar is so low. Why do black people have to learn to struggle before anything? It's like the minute a black child is born into this world, they got to start learning how to struggle, because they black enough until they know how to struggle. They not black enough until they was raised up in the hood. They not black enough until they didn't been shot at. They not black enough until they didn't been cussed out by their mama or their daddy. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that mind frame. You ain't black enough. Y'all have seen those memes. You ain't black unless you had to use trash bags to go to the bathroom in. You ain't black enough unless you had to, eat sugar sandwiches. It's like the irony. The irony. Don't get me wrong. If you gotta, if you were born into a situation that you had no control over, your mother, your father got together and they had you, and you were born into a situation that you just absolutely did not have control over. Nobody is faulting you for that. But when you're out here intentionally creating these broken homes, intentionally putting these children in situations where they have to grow up on peanut butter sandwiches and ramen noodles and all the non-healthy foods because the parents don't have enough money to get the good healthy stuff. I mean, there's so much that can be said, but I'm gonna leave it there because I don't want this video to be too long. Also, as a father, part of being a father is also teaching your children as well, more specifically your boys. So what could he possibly be teaching these boys? I mean, to me, it looks like another generational thing that's being passed down that he probably got from his father, who was absent, who was nowhere to be found, right? And his granddad, same thing. I mean, and I say probably because I don't know for sure. I'm just saying probably that's what it looks like to me. But moving on to the next thing, I wanted to also bring forth some solutions, and this is specifically for women. I want to address the women in this last little piece before we leave here. Ladies, more specifically, the ladies that I believe Dusty's like this target. I promise you guys, and I've said this before, I believe dudes like this Dusty, they target certain types of women. And it's not, like I said, it's not so much a look. It's like, they target women who they know have low self-esteem. They're not really confident in what they can do or what they can get, or confident within themselves. Because a woman who's confident within herself, and she don't even have to have high self-esteem, but just standards, just basic standards, would never tolerate this. Maybe the first two women, I'll give them passes, right? The first two children's mother, I'll give them passes, only because, I mean, if he's out here doing his thing, one woman may be on one side of town, the other one may be on the other, or they may be in totally different states, because he is a truck driver. So I didn't look too far into it, so I don't know the details surrounding it. But after you meet somebody and he's got, 2 women, 4 kids, 2 women, 8 kids or something like that, it's like, ladies, we really need to be setting these standards. And setting high standards is not only going to be good for you or beneficial for you, but it's also going to be beneficial for, whatever could become, right? If your standard is, I don't have children, so I don't want to date a man with children, then that's your standard. If your standard is I have 1, so I'll get with a man who has 1, then that's your standard. If your standard is, I have 4 and I don't want to date a man that's got 15 other kids, then that's your standard. And to be quite honest, it's not hard. Men come and go, especially Dustys like this. You can find a Dusty, go to any hood in America, any hood. You can find a white one, a black one, or all different. You can find Dustys are easy to get. This is what I tell people all the time. A Dusty is not hard to get. A Dusty wants to have sex. That's what Dustys want to do. They want to have sex. A lot of it. It's easy to get a Dusty. It takes nothing. Dustys don't want to get married. Dustys, You know, and the ones that do get married, I mean, again, a lot of them have hidden agendas. They're looking for a place to stay. They want somebody to take care of them, whether that be financially. They want a emotional punching bag, something like that. Like, I'm telling you, you guys, it's not easy. It's not hard to get a Dusty. Dusties come a dime a dozen. They are not hard to get. They are not hard to find. Even the ones who may not even be in the hood, even the ones who are what we would call a high value Dusty, the ones who have money but they have a Dusty mentality, they not hard to get either. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, any Instagram model that's willing to take off her clothes and spread it wide can get one of them high value Dusties. They get them all day, every day. They exploit them and expose them all day, every day. When you look at a lot of times when these women are with these men, you look at, okay, well, what did they do? All they did was slid in the DMs. All they did was, shake some booty, show a booty cheek. That's it. That's all it take. That's all it take for a Dusty. They don't care. They don't care. They will go, you can meet them one day, the second day they'll have you legs wide open, no rubber. Dusties, they don't care. Next thing I want to say, ladies, look, we really, and this is whether you have high self-esteem or low self-esteem. I say all women need to be doing some type of therapy or coaching. And that could mean you do see a therapist once a year. It can mean you have a coach that you are seeing that's keeping you accountable, because it's all part of self-love. It's all part of self-growth, and we all need that. We all need that as you grow through life, learning new things, coming into different wisdoms, different things that you could learn. That's all needed. Another thing that I want to say, healing in the Black community needs to be had on both sides, both men and women. I can only speak from the woman's point of view, and I can tell you that there has been a lot that Black women have been through, and we need to also heal through. The next thing is I wanted to also talk about the cost of creating life with someone, including yourself. Make that a very high cost. If a man wants you to have his child, should be costly. And what I mean by that is either we're married and I'll have your children after we are married, because by law there are certain benefits that a wife gets, period, that he don't even have a say so in. There are certain benefits that a wife will get by law depending on the state. When you are not married, depending on the state, sometimes common law marriage don't even exist. But it should be, the cost of having a child for a man should be very high. You are literally opening up your body. You're opening up your health. For Black women, we are at a high risk of dying during childbirth. We're at like 50% chance of dying. So that means you're literally rolling the dice to have a man's child. That should be very, very costly. This man should not be able to just willy-nilly, have all these women having, quote unquote, birthing out his legacy through their womb, basically using their womb for his own whatever. And what are these women getting out of it? Heartache, pain, possibly STDs, possibly, they're not getting marriage, they're not getting a ring, they're not getting provided for. They're getting probably the bare minimum, because like he said, if you ask him if he got money, he gonna always tell you he broke. So we already know what that means. He's giving the bare minimum. He's giving these kids are probably living on we just get by type of vibes. Again, the cost of life for someone, to include yourself, should be high. That cost should be high. If a man wants you to have his baby, require marriage. If you're not the type of woman and you don't want to be married and a man wants you to have his baby, then you need to require that this man makes a certain type of money so that he can comfortably take care of that child. And if that child desires to go to college, he can comfortably be able to pay for that out of pocket if possible. If the child wants to go. If the child, you know, again, when our kids graduate from high school, so many of them graduate with $0 in the bank, and they literally starting from scratch. While other kids are starting with, you know, they got half of their tuition paid, they're not going to be in debt. You know, it's so many different things. We always starting at zero. We come into the world starting at zero. Because many of the families that we're born into are barely getting by. They're operating on struggle. And like I said, those of us are those who are born into that type of environment. You can't help that. The only thing you can do is make the best of whatever, you know, whatever cards has been handed to you. But as a parent, to me, your prime focus should be on, okay, I have a child. I want to be able to provide this child the very best, not, you know, barely getting by type of stuff. The last thing is that as women, you know, I look out into to the black women, and I feel like, you know, we need our minds to be rewired, because we are socialized and we are taught to, you know, give everything to the struggle, give everything to the ride or die, give everything to the potential of something, instead of requiring that things are there before we even give. That needs to become the new mindset, because I think that will save a lot of women the heartache and pain that can be caused by Dusties like this. And again, he's not all to blame. This man has, I think they said like 9 baby mamas or something like that. And it's like, after the first 2, I mean, come on, ladies. Come on. And you can't be out here talking about, well, he this and he that. And it's like, okay, but you chose him though. You chose him. You laid down with him. So we got to call that out as well. We can't just keep putting it on a man. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You guys go ahead and like this video, comment it below, and until next time, peace.